specifically, one thing I wanted to ask you is just about, let's say, a very specific slice around big data application companies,
Sure.
application layer companies. Um, I was always joking with a friend the other day that they'll actually could be a big data startup that could stack rank all the big data application company startups. So, like, as somebody who's very, very deep in this field, like, what is happening that so many people are talking about this? So many people are branding themselves as big data app companies, and how do you determine signal from noise in the early stages when you don't really know?
So that's actually, I think, a differentiation for our firm. We view the world roughly divided into, or the world of potential investment opportunities, roughly divided into three layers. So big data applications only constitute the very top part of that stack. The bottom part of the stack are the things that become physically or operationally necessary when you're dealing with huge amounts of data at very high velocity. So how do I secure, federate, transport over a network, store, do low-level indexing or database operations on a petabyte of data that may be turning over in its entirety from seconds to hours at most? For us, the middle layer is less about applications and about novel forms of analytics. And for us, analytics is less about business intelligence, but signal intelligence. How do I derive insight from this unprecedented volume and unprecedented velocity of data? And companies that deliver that will be welcomed by a wide array of customers, some in vertical markets, some with broadly horizontal tools. The top for us is so-called big data applications. And for us, things that are slightly contrarian or in industries where you would not suspect big data and deep compute to play a role are the most interesting ones. So we haven't done this particular company, but I like to joke that if somebody figured out how to use large-scale sensor data and deep compute and analytical techniques to figure out how to do a better job of routing gasoline tankers around California in the middle of the night between independent stations, that's an X $100 million cash flow business a year. It's a gritty, ugly, old school business. And that is a much more interesting application for us, say, than a vertical analysis of whether people will play a certain electronic game or not. And if you look at our portfolio, you can see that we've actually executed on stuff like that. Although now that I come to think of it, some of the most promising ones in the application space are deeply stealth. But I can talk broadly about those areas in a little bit. But I want to focus on your question. We differentiate between these opportunities based on how profound the understanding of and technical differentiation of a company is up and down those three layers of the stack. So someone showing up and saying, I'm big data because someday I might have a petabyte of information on medical patients, or I might have a petabyte of information on credit card consumers, or I have some of this information and I'm going to analyze it in this fairly narrow way. To us, that's not a big data application. Somebody who says, I have 20 years or 10 years of expertise in this particular area of lending, I've observed these proprietary patterns of behavior. I want to refine those analytical tools using a novel form of heretofore impossible large-scale compute and analytics on top of data that was heretofore too expensive to store and update. That's a much more interesting deal to us.